Morning. It's tempering day, so we're going to start tempering the knives today. It's bright and early, not even 7 o'clock yet. Still my first cup of coffee. So I've got the 4 knives that you saw in the earlier video. I've got those foil wrapped. So this is a stainless steel foil. You put the knives in there. In fact, you can kind of see the profile of the knife in there a little bit. So the knives are wrapped in there. There's also a small piece of plain paper in there. The reason you do that is because of all the stuff in stainless steel that makes it stainless. If you were to put it in the heat treat oven without putting it in the foil wrap, what happens is the oxygen gets to it, and when it gets up real hot, it oxidizes a lot of that stuff in there. Kind of makes a mess of the knife. So I did that with this one. This was a test knife, one of the first knives I did. You can see it's got, and I've actually started to clean it up a little bit, but kind of makes for an ugly knife. So what you do is you foil wrap it. You try to get as much of the air out as possible. Put a little piece of paper in there, because then what happens is as the oven heats up, it will actually burn that paper, which consumes all the oxygen in there. And it does that at a lower temperature before that oxygen can impact the condition of the stainless. So that way when this comes out, you don't have any of the kind of build up on the outside. You don't get any of that scaling on it. Makes it a lot easier to clean up. So we put it in the little foil pouches. I've got the 4 of them. I'm going to put this in here. As you can see, I've got just another piece of heat brick in there that I cut some little slots in. So we're just going to tuck these in here. So we've got those lined up. What we're going to do, let me bring this down. So the way this will work is I've got the little door here. So as that heats up, once it's up to final temperature, I'll be able to pull this out, lift up the little flap of the wool in there, access the knives, be able to pull one out at a time is the idea. So I've got my fancy tempering tongs to reach in, pull the knife out. We'll be able to check those. So we're still going through heat treat process, just trying to get set up for at the end of this, once we're at the 1940 degrees. What the process is going to look like is we'll reach in, we'll pull the blade out. It'll still be wrapped in the stainless steel foil. We'll bring it over here. We'll put it into the plate quench. So this is just a couple big aluminum plates. I did weld a little nut on here so I can put the drill on, so that way I can bring that down real quick onto it, apply some force to it. As that clamps down on it, then we'll also use the air. And we'll shoot air in there too. The goal is to get the temperature of the blade down below 1,000 degrees as fast as possible. Once that's done, then we'll have a little toaster oven here. Stole this out of our RV, so actually before we turn it on, still get the crumbs out. So we'll have this preheated. This will be preheated to 300 degrees, so the knives will go right into here then, hold there for 2 hours, and then we'll let them air cool, repeat the cycle. But kind of wanted to show the setup once this is to temperature, and we'll start moving along. Alright, so we're up to 1,940 degrees. We're going to open up the front here, take a look, see what we got. Start pulling knives out and doing a little plate quench and getting them into the toaster oven for their final round of tempering. Alright, so knife now is out. It's pretty cool to the touch. Looks like we still got a little bit of warp on there. Let's take a look at that more later. Let's get it opened up. I'll show you what this looks like now. Pulling it out of the foil. So you see that's where the little piece of paper was at that burned inside. So a little bit of discoloration there. I'm going to put this back in here for just a second, see what. See if we can't flatten it a little bit. I don't want to bend it too hard because it's going to be extremely brittle right now prior to it being the finished temper, to soften it just a little bit. Alright, we'll put this in here. That'll go in there for about 2 hours, and then we'll air cool it, and then we'll put it back in for another 2 hours, and that should finish up the tempering on it. So heat treating is done. Now it's time to see what we got. So here's the knives. You can see I've already started to clean one of them up a little bit. Now we got to see what we got heat treat wise. So what we're going to use, I've got a hardness tester here. It's kind of a cool tool. It's got a little piece that slides in here, so you cock it, pulls it up to the top. When you hit the little button, it drops it down, and there's a little diamond in there, and what this does is it measures how big of an imprint it makes into the metal, and then that tells you how hard the metal is. So this is the test piece that came with it. So to give you an example, if I do it on here, I don't know if you can hear that or not, so that registered a 59.3 Rockwell on that. For comparison, if we were to do that on, let's say, a piece of just plain old mild steel, and I don't know if you can hear it or not, just kind of a thud. So that didn't even register at all in terms of hardness, so it just gives you an E for error. So what I want to do is check the just check the edge of the blade here, because one, I'll be grinding that some more. I don't want to do it up on the spline here, because that will it will leave a mark on there, and since I don't plan on grinding that, and I don't really care too much what the hardness is up above there. So, but I do care where it is right on the cutting edge. So we'll turn this on. Okay, that one gave me a 21. I wasn't quite on the edge there, so let me get a little closer. My battery's getting low on me too, so that's hurting. Okay, so that gave me a 56.3. That's right on the cutting edge. You can kind of see, I don't know if you'll be able to see the little dimple it marks, leaves there. So you can kind of see where that's at. Let's test another one where I have not, I haven't cleaned anything off of it yet, so it's a little, it's not a smooth edge you're checking. So try to get, so that's reading a 32 right now, so we'll see what we get once we clean this up a little bit more. It does seem to do a better reading once you get rid of some of the grooves and clean it up a little bit. So once we'll get these cleaned up, we'll finish the grind on it, and then we'll be on to start looking at the handles. So I did get all of my the wood blanks that I had loaded up and was doing for the wood stabilization on it. So we got a bunch of different blanks to pick with. I do have some more of the micarta as well. So we'll see what kind of different handles we put on it. But some of these turned out pretty cool. So we got some bird's eye maple. This is some of the spalted pecan. This was bubinga. Bubinga looks similar to the Purple Heart, but I think the bubinga will hold its color better. The Purple Heart looks really cool when it's first cut, but over time, when being exposed to light, it actually ends up turning kind of a brown, so it kind of loses that purple color to it and doesn't hold real well. So then we got some walnut in here. There's some walnut, there's some cherry. So we got some different ones to pick from, so we'll see what we end up with.